You think you understand women, but you barely understand yourself. This truth, though never penned by Plato, pulses through his philosophy like a warning carved in stone. In his Allegory of the cave, prisoners worship shadows, mistaking them for reality. For men, one of the darkest shadows is the idea of woman, not as she is, but as you've been taught to see her, pure, innocent, the key to your happiness. Plato didn't write dating guides. He exposed the blindness of a mind untrained to see truth. This video unveils his hidden lesson. Women don't enslave you, your illusions about them do. Through 6 brutal insights, we'll shatter the myths keeping you chained and show you how to rise as a man who rules himself. Step into the light and prepare to see clearly. Plato's Allegory of the cave is more than a story. It's a diagnosis of the human condition. Prisoners chained in darkness stare at shadows on a wall, believing them to be real. They build lives around illusions, never questioning the light beyond. For men, the most intoxicating shadow is the idea of woman. Not her true nature, but the myth you've swallowed, that she's your salvation, your purpose, your better half. This illusion isn't her creation, it's yours, born from a mind untrained to see truth. You see her smile and call it love. She withdraws and you chase, thinking it's devotion. Plato would call you a prisoner worshiping shadows instead of seeking reality. His philosophy begins with a humbling truth. We know nothing until we admit we know nothing. Yet how many men define women by their actions, tears, touches, glances, without questioning what lies beneath? You don't study her influence like you study business or war. You accept her image, and in doing so, you hand her power. This blindness isn't new. Plato warned that the untrained mind is a playground for deception. In Phaedrus, he describes the soul as a chariot pulled by 2 horses, one noble, seeking reason, one wild, craving pleasure. When a woman enters, the wild horse bolts, dragging you toward her beauty, her attention, her validation. You don't resist. You call it love, mistaking madness for meaning. Plato saw this as spiritual slavery, a failure to govern your soul. The evidence is stark. Men betray their values for a woman's approval, abandon missions for her affection, destroy lives for her fleeting glance. Psychological studies show that men often prioritize female validation over personal integrity, driven by evolutionary urges to please. But Plato's insight cuts deeper. It's not her power that binds you. It's your refusal to face yourself. You project your desires onto her, turning her into a goddess who holds your worth. She doesn't need to manipulate you. Your illusions do the work. Society fuels this. Narratives paint women as the answer to your emptiness, the reward for your struggles. Movies, songs, and culture tell you she completes you, that her love defines your manhood. Plato warned in the Republic that the masses are ruled by myths, not truth. You've been fed a story that keeps you obedient, chasing shadows instead of light. The first step out of the cave is to admit you're chained, not by her, but by the lies you've believed about her. This truth is brutal but liberating. To see clearly, you must question everything. Why her smile sways you, why her silence stings, why you crave her approval. Plato's call is to become the philosopher, to turn toward the light even if it burns. Only by facing your illusions can you begin to rule yourself, and only a man who rules himself can walk free. Plato's genius was exposing how we deceive ourselves. Men believe they're rational in love, but they're prisoners to their appetites. You think a woman manipulates you, but the truth is harsher. Your illusions about her do. She's not the puppeteer. You've handed her the strings, turning her into a mirror of your ungoverned desires. Plato's hidden truth is this: her power over you exists only because you refuse to master yourself. In the Symposium, Plato calls love a divine madness, a force that blinds men, making them worship beauty while ignoring truth. When she smiles, you see destiny. When she cries, you see sincerity. But Plato would laugh. These are shadows, projections of your need for validation. You don't see her as she is, you see her as you wish her to be. This is the root of your enslavement, not her actions. Women don't need to scheme. Consciously or not, they understand the wild horse in your soul, the part that craves pleasure, attention, approval. A glance, a touch, a pause in her texts. She wields these instinctively, feeding your appetite while you call it connection. Psychological research backs this. Men are more likely to compromise values under emotional influence, especially from women. But Plato's insight is deeper. She's not the cause, she's the catalyst, revealing weaknesses you've ignored. The tragedy is your complicity. You give her power by making her your purpose. You chase her validation, thinking it proves your worth. But Plato warned in Gorgias that betraying your soul is the greatest injustice. Every time you bend your principles to please her, you commit violence against yourself. She doesn't need to defeat you. You defeat yourself, choosing pleasure over truth, shadows over light. Society amplifies this. Cultural myths cast women as your better half, the key to happiness. From rom-coms to religion, you're told her love completes you. Plato saw through this in the Republic. The masses are controlled by persuasive flatterers, and no flattery is more potent than a woman's approval. You've been programmed to seek her gaze, to measure your manhood by her response. This is the cave's deepest shadow, a narrative that keeps you chained. The way out is to see her clearly. She's not a goddess or a villain, she's a mirror, reflecting your undisciplined soul. Plato's call is to question the illusion. Why does her silence hurt? Why does her attention feel like salvation? These aren't her power, they're your weakness, exposed. To break free, you must face the light of truth, even if it blinds you to the fantasies you've held dear. Plato's Phaedrus offers a vivid image. Your soul is a chariot, pulled by two horses, one noble, seeking reason and truth, one wild, craving pleasure and temptation. The driver, you, must control them, but most men fail when a woman enters the scene. Her presence unleashes the wild horse, pulling you toward her beauty, her laughter, her validation. You don't resist, you surrender, calling it love. Plato's truth is brutal. This isn't freedom, it's slavery to your lowest desires. The war within you is the real game. Every time you chase her, you choose appetite over reason, pleasure over principle. She doesn't need to manipulate you. Your ungoverned soul does the work. A smile, and you're hers. A cold reply, and you're desperate. Plato warned in the Republic that a man who lets the lustful part of his soul dominate is unjust, betraying his higher self. Yet you negotiate with your emotions, hoping her approval will complete you. This war isn't her fault. Women, consciously or not, test men to reveal their strength, or lack of it. She pushes your boundaries to see if you'll hold firm. She withholds affection to see if you'll beg. She challenges your convictions to see if you'll fold. These tests aren't malice, they're instinct, probing for a man who governs himself. Psychological studies show women are drawn to men with emotional resilience, not those swayed by every whim. But most men fail, letting the wild horse run free. The cost is devastating. Men abandon missions, betray families, destroy empires for a woman's fleeting approval. Plato saw this in Athens' fall. When pleasure rules over discipline, collapse follows. Today, you see it in men apologizing for their strength, sacrificing purpose for her glance, measuring worth by her response. This is the mark of a prisoner, not a king. Plato's cure is self-mastery. In the Laws, he argued that a man must rule his desires, or others will rule him. To win the war within, you must train the driver, your reason, to tame the wild horse. This means questioning why her attention sways you, why her silence stings. It means holding your mission above her approval, your truth above her tears. A man who masters his soul doesn't chase shadows, he creates light. The shift is profound. When you govern yourself, her tests lose power. She respects you, not because you demand it, but because you've proven you're unshakable. Plato's vision of the philosopher-king, a man who rules himself with reason, is your path out of the cave. Only by winning the war within can you see her as she is, not as the illusion you've built. Society has fed you a lie. Women are your salvation, your purpose, the key to your happiness. This myth, woven into culture, religion, and media, casts women as divine, pure, incapable of manipulation. Plato saw through such narratives in the Republic, warning that myths control the masses, keeping them obedient to illusions. The idea of woman as your better half is the cave's darkest shadow, designed to keep you emotionally enslaved. You've been taught to worship her. Her smile is your reward, her approval your crown. You chase her, thinking it's love. But Plato called this madness in the Symposium, a divine obsession that blinds you to truth. You turn her into a goddess, a prize, and in doing so you diminish yourself. She doesn't need to control you, your worship does, making her the center of your world while you drift from your own. This myth isn't her creation, it's yours, fueled by a society that profits from your weakness. From fairy tales to Hollywood, you're told she completes you, that her love defines your worth. But Plato warned that the masses are ruled by flatterers, and no flattery is more seductive than a woman's validation. You've been programmed to seek her gaze, to sacrifice your mission for her comfort, to measure your manhood by her response. The truth is stark. She's not divine. She's human, flawed, driven by instincts like you. Consciously or not, she tests your strength, probing for weakness. A withheld text, a sharp comment, a sudden distance. These are probes, not malice, revealing whether you'll stand firm or crumble. Plato's Gorgias is clear. Betraying your soul for pleasure is the greatest injustice. Every time you chase her approval, you commit this injustice not against her but against yourself. Breaking free means dismantling the myth. See her as a mirror, not a goddess. Her smile reflects your need for validation. Her silence exposes your fear of rejection. Plato's call is to question the narrative. Why do you need her to feel whole? Why does her approval outweigh your purpose? This isn't about hating women. It's about seeing clearly, refusing to worship an illusion that keeps you chained. The shift is seismic. When you stop divinizing her, you reclaim your power. She becomes a partner, not a prize, a human, not a deity. Plato's philosopher seeks truth, not flattery. By rejecting the myth of her divinity, you step closer to the light, seeing both her and yourself as they are, imperfect, real, and free from the shadows of worship. Plato's ultimate lesson is that no man is free who is not master of himself. In the Laws, he warned that men who let pleasure rule over discipline invite collapse, not just of themselves, but of civilizations. For men, the greatest threat is the untrained soul, swayed by the appetite for female validation. To break free from the cave, you must pay the price of self-mastery, a path of courage, discipline, and unrelenting truth. Self-mastery begins with questioning. Why does her approval feel like salvation? Why does her rejection cut so deep? Plato's Republic teaches that the soul has three parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. Most men live in appetite, chasing her smile, her touch, her attention. This is the wild horse running free, dragging you to ruin. To master yourself, you must let reason take the reins, aligning your actions with truth, not temptation. The price is steep. You'll face moments of doubt, when her silence tempts you to chase, when her warmth begs you to bend. Society will call you cold for prioritizing your mission, selfish for refusing to worship her. But Plato knew that authenticity demands exile. The herd clings to flattery. You choose truth, even when it isolates you. Psychological studies show that men with high self-control are less swayed by emotional manipulation, earning respect through resilience. In practice, this looks deliberate. When she tests you with a sharp comment, don't defend. Smile, hold your ground. When she pulls away, don't chase. Focus on your purpose. Online, don't react to every post or text. Let your silence speak. Plato's philosopher-king rules himself first, unshaken by external games. This isn't about dominance, it's about dignity, proving you value your soul above her approval. The reward is freedom. When you master your appetites, her tests lose power. She respects you, not because you demand it, but because you've shown you're ungovernable by desire. Plato's Phaedo teaches that the soul takes on the character of its actions. If you chase validation, you become weak. If you pursue truth, you become unshakable. A man who rules himself doesn't need her to feel whole. He's already complete. This path is lonely but liberating. You'll lose those who thrive on your weakness, but you'll gain clarity, purpose, and a life untainted by shadows. Plato's call is to rise as the just man, the ruler of your soul who sees women not as goddesses or enemies, but as mirrors of your strength. Pay the price of self-mastery, and you'll never worship illusions again. Plato's hidden truth is a mirror, not a map. It doesn't tell you how to win women. It shows you why you lose yourself chasing them. The cave is your mind, the shadows are your illusions, and the woman is the mirror reflecting your ungoverned soul. To break free, you must face the light of truth, even if it burns away everything you thought was real. This is the path to becoming the philosopher-king, a man who rules himself and bows to no illusion. The light begins with clarity. See her as she is, not a goddess, not a prize, but a human, testing your strength as instinct demands. Her smile isn't love, it's a probe. Her silence isn't rejection, it's a challenge. Plato's Republic teaches that the just man aligns his soul with reason, not appetite. When you stop worshiping her, you stop betraying yourself. She becomes a partner, not a purpose, and you become a man who needs no validation. This clarity demands courage. Society will call you heartless for prioritizing truth over her tears, arrogant for refusing to chase. But Plato warned in the laws that men who serve pleasure invite tyranny. The herd will resent your freedom because it exposes their chains. Let them. You're not here to comfort their illusions. You're here to live, to burn with a purpose that outshines the shadows. The truth transforms you. When you govern your soul, her tests become irrelevant. You don't flinch at her distance because your worth isn't tied to her response. You don't chase her approval because your mission is your crown. Psychological research shows that men who prioritize self-discipline over external validation build stronger identities, unshaken by emotional games. Plato's philosopher seeks the good, not the flattering, and in doing so, he becomes ungovernable. Your life becomes a testament. You walk with clarity, speak with conviction, act with purpose. Women respect you not because you play their game, but because you've transcended it. Plato's Gorgias reminds us, it's better to suffer injustice than to commit it. By refusing to betray your soul for her approval, you commit no injustice. You live as the just man, free from the cave's chains. In the end, Plato's truth is a gift. You're not enslaved by women, but by the shadows you've worshipped. Step into the light. Face the mirror of your soul. Question the illusions you've built. The woman is not your enemy. She's the reflection of a war you must win within. Become the man who rules himself, and no shadow, no flattery, no test will ever hold you again. Your life is yours to claim. Start now, and let the truth set you free.